Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to a new episode of Let's Crack It. Today we talk with Phil, and as usual, we talk about SEO and everything that is related to SEO. So today we would like to tackle some nice points, which are, for example, mixing SEO with social marketing magic, and actually, it's also important to discuss about privacy and related to marketing. What are your thoughts about this, Phil?
Yeah, hey everybody. From my side, a big warming hello to everybody who's listening to us. Um, just to start this episode, Carlo was just before, didn't record it, but he was just bringing up the example of Temu or whatever it's called. It's the new AliExpress, Alibaba, Wish, Spock, whatever is out there, the new Chinese e-commerce big
Exactly.
fish. I think we would just go into the data privacy, and you just brought this amazing example of Temu, and maybe you can repeat it for our listeners again.
Yeah,
Carlo
yeah,
has Temu on his phone,
yes.
and you said you were using. No, you didn't use it. You said, right?
Yeah, actually, I didn't use this application for a long time. Even it was installed on my phone. But yeah, like a couple of weeks ago, I said, okay, let's see what I can buy there, right? And I started to buy a lot of stuff, and I spent like 30 euros, and I came home with in actually no time because I arrived there in like a week, which is crazy
From
because
China.
yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if it was from China, but it's crazy because sometimes when you again you buy on AliExpress, it takes months to arrive, right?
Right.
So yeah, I never used it, and after I understood this little issue, I would say, about
There it
Temu,
comes.
which is basically only to uh, take your data and sell it to third parties. Because actually, what I understood is that they make the margin and profit only on selling your data, because actually they are always in loss when you buy something on their website or their application.
Right, but they make the money worth with selling the data. That actually, it might be a conspiracy theory that just formed in my head. That do you think that Temu might be kind of, we're in the age of proxy wars these days. I don't want to go into
Mhm.
politics, but there's
Yeah.
like big superpowers having wars with like small middlemans actually fighting the war. Temu could be a similar approach of, let's say, Google to get their data, because Google pays every year billions of dollars of fines to get data from people, because everybody knows that data is the new gold, and who has the most data about people actually makes the gold eventually.
Win.
And they win. Exactly. And now that you told me this story before, I was just like thinking, could it be maybe not somehow of a backdoor agreement with the Chinese government that they form some kind of e-commerce? Because the Chinese, they are business people. And you can see that currently with the current political situation, they're just standing aside and looking and like figuring out who they can make the most money with. And that's what they did in the past 100 years. And why do they not do that on a web base? That makes totally sense. I mean, I'm not condemning anybody here. I would probably do the same, because it's probably a win-win situation. The Chinese build up some kind of an e-commerce, they get all the data, they sell it then to the company that usually would have to pay fines for it, and everybody wins, so to say, right?
Yeah.
So what do you
Actually,
think about that?
yeah, actually, well, yeah, absolutely. I agree with this, and probably a lot of politicians are going in the same direction. And I heard also that in US they are already deleting the application from all the digital app stores. So Google
Right.
Store and on App Store, you cannot find it anymore. And also, the funny thing is that I was talking about this with my wife, and she told me, "Oh, uh, I don't see anymore all the reels about Timu of the influencer that she follows, and all this influencer deleted all the reels related to Timu product,
Interesting.
which is I don't know."
I
So,
think like in the recent month there was the big discussions, especially in the US, about to ban TikTok, right?
mhm,
Because what
mhm.
TikTok does is basically what Timo does at the moment, right? I mean, TikTok was also a massive source of user data, behavior, interests, whatever, like everything. Me as a marketer, it's our wet dream, so to say, to know everything about the people so we can like adjust our marketing strategy to that.
Yeah.
And now that you just brought this up before, I was like, hey, okay. I mean, I don't know exactly right now. I'm not up to date with like what's the verdict about TikTok to ban in the US. I think they didn't because I still find a lot of US content creators on TikTok as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, but I mean, I mean, I don't want to like encourage people right now listening to conspiracy theories. That's just something that formed in my
Absolutely.
head. It's not proven. It's not proven. It's not based on data.
Exactly.
It's like a picture that formed in my head. I will have to do some research here. But
Absolutely.
yeah, data privacy, it's such a thing. Also, GDPR. I mean, we are both in Europe, and we actually have pretty strict regulations that we should say on purpose that we should follow, but we do not always. I specifically do not because I always try to find loopholes because GDPR makes my job even harder, and it's such a it's such a thing. It just makes everything so much more complicated. And even people say like, yeah, I disagree for cookies and everything. They feel like they don't giving data away, but trust me, we will get that data anyway, because you cannot go through every website, every application, every email that you get and run around cookie-less, data-less. That data is coming into our pockets at some point, right? So what's your point on that? You see the same, or I mean, you
Yeah,
just mentioned before,
absolutely.
like, yeah, the data is everywhere. Your data is everywhere in the internet,
Yeah,
and I
yeah. I
agree.
mean, I don't know. Maybe one day when they will steal my identity, will I don't know. I will rethink about this. But if you think about this digital era, everybody is on internet. Everybody is on social media. Everybody is, and I'm not only talking about Timor or TikTok. E- every everywhere, because your website is out there and you are putting purposefully with I mean with a purpose your email and your phone number out there, which is something private, because you would like to reach more people and people should call to you, right? And so
Right.
you cannot pretend that those data that can be scraped with one click nowadays, um, uh, to not utilize this public data because they're public. I mean, we have to understand that this data is public, and we put out there this content with a purpose, right?
Right.
So, I mean, if we think about data privacy in a way that, again, they take my data, take my email address, and they start to spam me with other emails. At the end of the day, what does it change to me, right?
Exactly.
I
I
mean,
mean, you can put in
to be
spam
honest,
filters, whatever.
I have in my Gmail account. I don't know how many spam email every day, and most of them, to be honest, are really hot, emails, right? Thank you for for this.
That
Really
wasn't
hot
me. That
emails.
wasn't me. The balloons. It wasn't me.
Really?
No, it just came to the air quotes again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it has to do with the air quotes, right? No, it
Oh,
doesn't. But I
this
didn't.
thing?
I don't know. I didn't click anything, but That's
I
that's a
don't
new
know.
function. But
Well,
speaking
anyway,
of privacy, right? Why does
exactly,
Riverside do that right
exactly.
now?
When we talk,
That's creepy.
they understand. Anyway,
Wait, I just
so
need to quickly explain for everybody who's not watching this
yeah,
podcast. There was just a balloon flying over Carlos'
yeah,
screen, so we don't know where they came from, but
and
maybe somebody's
exactly,
listening.
it was crazy. But anyway, funny. And again, if I have another spam email that you can have a bigger, you know, thing, right? Or you can have bigger boobs or this kind of stuff. I mean, if I have another spam email of this just because someone took my email and started to spam me because my data has been sold to another company, what should I do? I mean, I put my email out there, right? For one propose, right? And this is what happens, right? And
Right.
I don't know.
I mean that's a reason. For example, I do have around 5 Gmail addresses. For one I use is kind of like my spam bucket, and I'm one of these. When I'm scrolling on Instagram or TikTok or wherever, and somebody offers me a free ebook or something, hey, I'm always interested what they write. So I always give them my spam email bucket, and then I put in filters to kind of filter out their incoming newsletters. And if you believe it or not, that has always been quite interesting to me to just see like how they do that. So from my point of view, I learn more than they gain. Like I gain more than they get from me eventually. So it's definitely a thing, yeah. But yeah, data privacy, that also reminds me, I used to work in a travel agency, and we had these, I always asked my clients, like, can you give me your email address? Can you give me your phone number? Sometimes you had these, I call them alternative people that were living, quote unquote, off the grid, and no balloons this time, but so it wasn't the air quotes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were always saying like, yeah, I don't want to give you my details because I don't know what's happening with that. And then I was like, do you use WhatsApp? And they were like, oh yeah, of course. And I was like, okay, then you can give me your phone number as well, because there's way more data going to somewhere else you don't know, and you know me right now. So just why don't you trust the face where you just purchased your trip of your lifetime for 17,000 euros, and you don't want to give me your phone number? That's kind of ridiculous,
Mhm.
And that's, for example, that's something that a lot of people don't understand. Like, even though I don't give you my direct contact details these days, you can. That's great. But you are even monitored based on your behavior, and you are segmented on a big data level.
Hmm.
So you might be just one in, yeah, let's call 500,000, a million, 1.6 million, something around that. And based on your behavior, you fit into this segment of those 1.6 million people. And that's also, that's a lot of data you actually give away by just being you and by just using the devices. It's may be an iPhone, an Apple Watch, maybe just browsing on the internet, whatever. And therefore, I would just say data privacy is, I don't trust in that. I don't believe in it. It's non-existent in my point of view. You can have this feel good, I do not accept cookies, so you feel great, but eventually it's still gonna be taken. Also, if you browse in incognito mode, there is still stuff being given away. I mean, if you want to be really off the grid, you should use a VPN, or better even a Tor browser, so you can
Exactly.
have 5-6 different VPN points where you're going to be rerouted, and that's when you're actually probably pretty safe. So
Yeah. I
you can
utilize Brave as browser,
yeah.
and it has the Tor version. I would like to see in this era of speed and everything should load in milliseconds to use a Tor web browsing. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, it's gonna take a while until it's loaded.
exactly, exactly. It takes a while until it's loading, and
Right.
I mean, and this is the drawback of having of wanted to be detached to this data
Right.
thing, right?
But yeah,
At one
it's
point,
definitely
the third time that you use the Tor, you will not use it anymore.
Yeah. It's always such a like, oh, cool, I'm now off the grid, and then it's like, okay, this sucks. Whatever my
Exactly.
like, fuck my data. I just want to have speed. Yeah,
Exactly.
because we are comfortable, right? I mean, that definitely plays into the game, and and those companies know that. You know, it's. I mean, there are definitely people. They also use DuckDuckGo or all these safe search engines, which are, bum, they're all Google based. So you can actually download the search engine code of Google for free, and you can do your own kind of privacy thing. That makes sense to some extent, but even though then DuckDuckGo has data of yours, and what are they doing with it? You know, it's kind of like it goes in circle, if you ask me. So yeah, let's leave this data privacy topic. It was super interesting, but let's go ahead. We also have the topic augmented reality in
Yeah,
marketing,
exactly. That's
and
amazing.
that's going to be pretty cool, because last time we bought a dog 2 years ago, and remember, I was at the cashier's desk of my local supermarket, and we were about to buy a dog, and it's a mixture between a dachshund and some terrier something. But I was
Okay.
just like Googling images of that, because I instantly fell in love with that little dog. You know, it's a classic. The man doesn't want to have a dog, but then I saw her, and I was like, oh, she's so cute. So I needed to have images all everywhere. So I Googled Dackel or Dachshund, and instantly there was this dog that you could actually take and put it into your room, you know, like
Okay.
see him, like how does he fit next to your couch or something, you know. And it's quite funny, actually. You can just like click on it, and then you can move it there. And ever since, that was 2 years ago, ever since, I see that even more. Like when you, for example, go furniture shopping, I don't know if IKEA does it, but last time I came across a website that does furniture. And when you look at it, you can always put that model, like there's always written, see how it looks in your room, for example. And then you can place it there, and you can already like visualize, oh, okay, this fits or it doesn't fit, or maybe we have to rearrange stuff. And that kind of gives a new depth of marketing, because we don't always have to just visualize and imagine like, oh, is it going to fit there? We have the measures, like, yeah, okay, it fits all in. We can now actually have this immersive experience of like putting it there, placing it, and like look into the future, so to say, like, okay, this is how it's going to be looking like.
Yes.
And I think it's great stuff, to be honest. I think I'm a big fan of augmented reality. I cannot program augmented reality. Straightforward, no clue how to start, even though I guess there are good tools like Vectory or Spline, for example, and all these things.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that's going to come even heavier into our life.
Absolutely.
And the next step will probably be the virtual reality, because now with the new Apple virtual reality glasses, if I recall correctly, they make it possible to have your office in a virtual reality area. So actually the whole Apple UI is going to be kind of touchable within your glasses somehow. And I think that's going to be a great stuff. And I'm actually really, really looking forward to that, because I hope I could once work like that with a virtual reality glasses device, and just sit somewhere on a mountain where birds are flying around me, and then just do my job there. Like, imagine how relaxing that must be, right?
Yeah.
Or like sitting at the beach without
Yeah.
getting a sunburn.
No, that's amazing. Actually, you brought up a really good topic, because me as a product designer, I'm always striving to to get the food into into this world, and it's complex, but is at the end of the day also super rewarding, not only in terms of what you're doing, but also in terms of money, because now that everybody wants augmented reality and virtual reality or XR, so this mix between virtual and augmented reality, it's really on demand. And this is something that really product design will be in the next future, in the next few years. uh, there are few application actually that are made by, again, the same companies. One is TikTok, that made their own application to create augmented reality. And if you think about this, it's everything came from the stupid, I would say, filters that you can put on the images, on the
Yeah,
pictures, right?
the bunny ears, right?
Exactly, exactly. Everything starts from the era of this, and every day you have more and more, I would say, of this avatar that you can put on your face, or even Google now has a lot when you utilize this. And this is pure augmented reality. And how to build this? Actually, it's just a tool. Like, for example, the TikTok has its own, Meta has its own application to do the same. And there is Adobe Aero, which
Yeah, I
is
know that one. Yeah,
yeah, which is an application that you can utilize to integrate actually your 3D object, 3D object into a virtual space, which is also cool. And you mentioned actually the glasses. This is, again, something that it's crazy. On my side, I'm sure that now I'm going to buy one of those glasses. Probably not the Apple one, for the simple reason that 4 grand are a lot
yeah.
of
Just
money.
wanted to say, yeah,
I mean, 3,900 euros, it's a lot of money, right?
it's a
But
bargain. Come on.
can be the most beautiful and well-designed things, but I will wait a little bit, right?
Right.
And we have, for example, the Meta Quest from since years now, and now just recently came up the new version, the version 3, um, which is a little bit more advanced, lightweight, etc., etc. So the point that I need to understand now is how, as a product designer, right, I can utilize this devices actually not to use the device itself, but to create something for the device, right?
Right.
It's like I want to build a website, and I do it on my Mac. And the same thing is, I want to build, I don't know, a virtual website, right? And I want to do it with my MetaQuest, right?
Right.
And so this is actually where probably we are going. And again, this opportunity in marketing also, I think it's is strategic, right?
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
more and more.
imagine you going shopping with your VR glasses, right? You go through this, let's take CNA or H&M or I don't know,
Mhm.
every other fashion e-commerce store, and you can actually look at it in real life. You know, you don't just have a picture that you check out, but you actually have this store experience of walking through it, going through the different departments like men's department, women's department, children, whatever, and actually touching that stuff. And I think that's going to be the next step of like the fourth dimension, you know, to actually have somehow of a feeling or a smell
Mhm.
or something. There are already cinemas right now that actually give you, I think they call it a 4D cinema, you know, where you have like wind blowing to your face and all these things, you know, like simulate everything. And I think therein lies quite a big opportunity because it opens a whole new canvas, right? And at the moment, I guess, I mean, I don't know what else there could be done, you know, like for me, it's like, hey, cool, I play some video games, I can look around and I feel like I'm in there. But if you utilize that in a smart way to present your products or do even webinars, you know, like I
Mhm.
don't have to travel all the way to Berlin, for example,
Mhm.
to be at some kind of networking thing because it's going to be all virtual and I see these people and I can talk to these people, but I'm still sitting here in my office. So it's kind of
Yeah,
imagine that, you know.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
pretty interesting, yeah. And then we're back on how many data people can steal from us when you use these virtual reality
Yeah,
glasses,
of
right?
course, of
Yeah,
course, of course. Because depending on how you utilize it, when you utilize it,
exactly.
when you can turn on and off things,
What you do with
what
your eyes.
exactly how important is this corner instead of that
Exactly.
corner, right? Everything's tracked, and
Yeah.
heat map already does that on website. So I don't
I
know.
mean, imagine just like what I mentioned before with the eyes. I mean, once they steal your iris, which is currently it's a pretty unique thing, you know, like everybody has a different iris and you can like unlock phones with that and stuff
Mhm.
like I remember like in James Bond movies, you know, like people putting their eyes into opening a door. I was like, whoa, crazy, you know, but right now my phone can do the same. And
Yeah, exactly. We
it's not
don't
even
even
that big.
realize that it's the same thing.
Exactly. Yes, yes. It's exactly the
Yes.
same stuff, probably. And
Mm.
yeah, that's going to open definitely a new bucket of privacy concerns, if you ask me, you know, like
Yeah.
everybody who is off the grid. Yeah, well, good luck. I am in the grid and just being pragmatic with like whatever, you know, I can't stop it. It's like an avalanche. It's just rolling over us. And next thing will be probably, I don't know, digital money somehow, you know, like you can probably backtrack it to wherever you want to have it, you know, like, hey, he just bought a sausage there and he bought a burger here. And like now he's browsing through a sex store. And then you kind of like put people into buckets and you have new behavior, big data, and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's definitely interesting. So
yeah.
yeah.
So like that's really nice, nice. Also broad, super broad topic because
Yes.
actually we can also talk about ChatGPT and all the
Oh
data
yeah,
concerns around that. And I mean, there is
exactly.
so
Yeah, that
much.
can now browse the GPT can now browse websites, so you can insert a link and it actually pulls out the content of the website. So it's
Yes.
actually a crawler now. And
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
question is like,
It's a
what else
crawler.
does he do with it? You know?
It's a scraper because actually, if you put, with some plugins that you can add, you can have this data placed into an Excel sheet, and
Yeah, completely. I mean,
I mean, so
makes our lives easy, but sometimes I still have concerns because where is it going to stop, right?
I'm not sure we can.
I also don't think we can, because at some point I think that AI is smart enough to redevelop itself, you know. And I mean, it's kind of Terminator scenario. I'm not like
Yes,
super
yeah.
scared that's going to happen in the next 2 years, but I mean, if AI can create AI, so then good luck with that, you know.
Oh
I
yeah,
think we
that's
kind of
that's
have to
the biggest
control
issue
it.
in my opinion. Yeah. I'm sometimes I'm concerned, and on this topic, if I can, I had recently participated into a meetup here in Luxembourg, related to the ethic about ChatGPT and this
Mhm.
all this LLM. And actually, there was different kind of people. There was people that utilize ChatGPT every day for marketing because boost. I mean, like that. In few minutes, you can have 10 different head title to utilize for your ad campaign or something, right? On the other hand, there was this topic lawyer, right? Saying, okay, but everything that ChatGPT knows about laws is because we created these laws, right? So
Right.
I said, yeah, that's fair, but and all these people were judging this AI on the fact that um, they are not humans and they cannot, I would say, utilize emotion to give, I would say, responses to specific cases, right? I was uh, somewhat with them, but I would say for the most part not with them. For the simple reason that if you think about having an AI that helps during you have to process in the court some people, right? So nowadays, what is one of the biggest problem that we have? It's racism, it's, I don't know, feminism, or this kind of human behavior, right? That a lawyer can have,
Mhm.
even unconsciously. And we know how maybe, there is this stereotype in US where you have lawyers that, judge a black person just because it's black, right? Which is super wrong, right? Even policemen, we know, we see this every day. But if it's an AI that is trained in the right way, they will never see if a person is black or yellow or white, or right. They will judge just because
Based
of
on the
their
facts.
behavior, on the fact, right?
Right.
Which brings another level of saying, okay, so this can really be helpful for even lawyers and in this
Right.
courts, right? This is my opinion, obviously. I mean, but if you think broadly, right, these judges say, okay, but there is not the feeling of the humans, blah blah blah. I say, yeah, maybe it's even better, right, in these cases.
Exactly. Just wanted to say, so it doesn't have to be bad because humans are not perfect, obviously.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's something we have to think about. I mean, I do welcome AI. It makes my life tremendously easier these days. But also like to keep it at this productivity help and not like too much into fumbling around with like what actually makes us human, such as emotions, but I'm not so concerned about that because learning you emotions, how are you teaching that? Like it's hard. You get those or you don't have them. You need to have a spirit, you need to have a soul in order to feel emotions, right? I mean, you can give guidelines, you can give some rules to AI, but I think that learning emotions, how to read or whatever, it's not going to be done so quickly. So I think it's
so
we're still safe on that. So Terminators are not yet walking the planet and killing us all. So yeah, Skynet is not
exactly.
rising here. So yeah,
Cool.
yes. I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening, everybody. I hope we could entertain you a little bit with balloons and AI.
Yes, exactly.
And yeah, Carlo, thank you very much for your time again. It's always a pleasure
Thank you
chatting with you about.
for this chat. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
pleasure,
you.
pleasure, always. Okay,
See you in
guys,
the next
see you
one.
next time. Yeah. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Bye bye.